Last night we finally got huge news for the Fallout TV show. Bethesda and Amazon have finally released the trailer. But oh, not to you Fallout fans. Oh no, you don't deserve it. It was just for a panel at Gamescom. As you can tell, I was in no mood for this kind of shenanigans again from Bethesda. Yet despite this being yet another slap in the face for this fan base, there is a lot of information we can get from these tidbits of these pictures, such as they are. And later on in the video, there's some more footage that came out a week or two ago. I've got those stills for you as well, on-set footage, and I'll take a look at that later on in the video. Let's get to it. So before this footage played, the almighty Todd presented to the crowd, and in his normal matter-of-fact sort of way, he states that this is just for the crowd in attendance, and this is no way meant to be put online. As I said in the intro, I hate when companies pull these kind of shenanigans, because they know very well people in the crowd are going to pull out their phones and they're going to film it, and it is going to end up online. So why not just release the thing officially so the fans can actually see it? What's the point in doing it this way? It just angers the fan base. As you can tell, I'm once again extremely frustrated with Bethesda. So before I burn my Vault suit in frustration, let's get to the action. So the footage starts off where the vertibird appears to be flying over a desert location, and you can just about make out in the bottom right hand corner here what appears to be another vertibird landed on the ground. Some of the people in attendance did mention that these vertibirds looked excellent. Next we have an individual standing in the doorway of the vertibird. It appears to be wearing some kind of black uniform. Again, it's too grainy to make out exactly who this is or what faction he's part of. We could speculate that this could be either Brotherhood or maybe even Enclave. Anybody who's actually at the presentation happens to see this video, please let us know. Next we cut to a shot of these 5 individuals walking across the desert in what appears to be T-60 power armor. Again, we can speculate this could be the Brotherhood suits we've seen in some of the early videos. If you haven't seen those videos, I'll leave a link here. You can go back and watch my whole series on this where we go into all the previous footage that's been seen so far. 2 things I'd note on this. The first is that the helmets look very odd in this footage, but that could just be as a result of the footage we're seeing here being very, very low res and very grainy. The other thing I thought was very odd about this is none of them appear to have any weapons. None of them appear to be either holding or carrying any weapons of any kind. I think that's a bit odd. Again, let me know what you guys think of this. Next we move to the inside of the vault, and this appears to be the female dweller leaving the vault as we speculated on one of the earlier videos from the first official picture we had. This does seem to confirm that this is a female dweller. She appears to have some kind of backpack on, and she is going outside the vault. And as in the earlier picture, we can see the other characters standing around and watching her leave. I think it's fair to speculate this is probably the Ella Purnell character. But again, if you was there and you saw this close up, let us know. Next we cut to what could be some kind of a town or a settlement, and a character in the foreground. And when the character turns round, we can see this is obviously a ghoul. And as he appears to be wearing a cowboy hat, I think it's a fair assumption this is the same ghoul we saw again in an earlier picture. Again, this has all been in earlier videos. Go back and watch all my earlier videos. You'll see all of this previous footage. Now we know Walton Goggins is one of the main stars, and we know he's playing a ghoul. So we must presume that this is Goggins in the ghoul makeup. And in the final scene we see some cities and nuclear explosions above the cities. Now some of the people who were in attendance have reported that these cities looked quite present day and looked quite modern. So again, the presumption here is this was potentially a flashback. Now this raises 2 interesting possibilities. Either the story is going to be something like maybe they did in Lost, where they're going back and flashing back. Anybody who saw Arrow saw the same kind of narrative storytelling there, where they were going back to earlier times and flicking between the past and the future. They could be going for something like this here, where they're going back to pre-bomb drop. Or this could be just simply a case of a character like the ghoul character having flashbacks to when this occurred. Because of course a lot of these ghouls will have been around before the bombs dropped and have active living memory of the world before the apocalypse. But again, if you was there and you saw this close up, let us know. So next, let's take a look at the next set of pictures we had come through. This was a couple of weeks ago. First of all, we see what appears to be the Vault-Tec logo here has been painted on these concrete slabs in the front of a building. We can see an old car of some kind there in the background. We don't know what they'll keep, obviously, and what they'll CG out. Next, we can see some individuals a bit more close up on what appears to be the steps leading up to a building. It's interesting to see the plants in the background of this one as well. I think obviously this was shot in New York, and perhaps that they're trying to make the plants look like California, where we now know the show is set. This slightly closer picture doesn't really show us much more. It's clearly mostly camera crew. Next, we take a close-up look at this character. Now this is more interesting because on close inspection we can see that the character appears to be wearing something that matches a Brotherhood flight suit. But of course we have this very strange dark red mauvey kind of colour, which we haven't seen anything like that from the Brotherhood before. Of course it's easy to presume that these flight suits are pre-war and they could have been worn by a number of different factions. We can also see that the character appears to be holding what looks like some kind of improvised, maybe pipe weapon, which again wouldn't really fit with a Brotherhood character. Next we move over to two vehicles. We can see again these vehicles don't match up to the Fallout aesthetic at all. One of them is definitely going to be in shot because when we move closer up to it we can see it has the Vault-Tec logo on the side. And when we get really in close we can see this is a new name. This is Hawthorne. And it says Medical Laboratories, a division of Vault-Tec Corporation. So this looks like this could well be a new faction that's being introduced, someone who's a subdivision of Vault-Tec, and considering those of us that dive deep into the lore know there's big connections between Vault-Tec and the Enclave, maybe they're going to go much deeper into this sort of thing. This particular location clearly doesn't look like California. Maybe this is something being shown from somewhere else in the country, or perhaps they're just going to remove most of the background here with CG. And of course they could just change these vehicles later on with CG, as we speculated in earlier videos. Now there's one other piece of information I'd like to know before we wrap this video up. At the end of the trailer it very clearly says that this show is coming in 2024. Now considering how long ago they finished shooting the show, I think a lot of us were hoping this would be out for the winter time this year. And it's possible the writer and the actor strike has pushed this show back. And hopefully we'll just be seeing it at the start of 2024. But with there's so many delays and so little information being shown to the public, would it really have been hard for them to even give us a first quarter 2024, whatever? Now we don't know. For all we know, this could come out Christmas 2024. So that was another thing. Again, lack of information, lack of clarity from Bethesda and Amazon. So over to you guys, jump down in the comments, let me know what you thought of all this news. Lots to talk about here, lots to speculate about, and I can't wait to get down and start reading your messages. As always, a massive thank you to this month's supporters. You can help support the channel and gain access to extra content from as little as $1 over on Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon. Thanks for watching guys, as always I'll keep you up to date of any news that comes out on this TV show. And again, as I said earlier, if you haven't seen the earlier videos, I'll leave a link to those so you can make sure you all stay up to date. Once again, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.